welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Reba M if you know me, and if you don't, it's Reba teacher to you because I'm in South Korea, and as you can see, I'm in my classroom. Yeah, so as you can see by the title of this video, it's not a vlog but it is a requested video. So I just decided, you know, it's long overdue because I think they requested it a while back, but I was so focused on vlogging and living in the moment and documenting that I was like, okay, once I've settled, then I will record it, and I feel like I've settled. Okay, anyway, as you can see by the title of this video, it's costs of moving to South Korea, any costs related to that, and somewhat speaking about documents required. Documents, in terms of documents, I feel like I can't speak about costs without including documents, and in terms of documents, I'm just going to be speaking high level. I'm not going to go deep into detail. Yeah, plus I also don't want this video to be very long. Also, look at my hair. I undid my hair in the previous, actually yes, in the previous vlog, you saw that I undid my hair. I managed to go do my hair. I did my hair in Busan. It was pricey, obviously, compared to South Africa, but I'm glad that I found someone who can actually lock my hair, because my hair isn't fully locked, as you saw, and I only locked my hair in November, so that was like something that made me happy. Yeah, so where there's a will, there's a way, and I want to show you my outfit. Okay, that's how I look. I'm wearing a wraparound skirt. It's not the safest skirt to wear, but I wore it today because I knew I wasn't gonna teach. I went to observe an open class today. Sorry, I keep looking outside because kids are playing. It's break, it's lunch. Yeah, just after lunch actually. Yeah, anyway, yeah, and then so basically I have time in my hands today because I've already prepped for the week. I've already started prepping for next week, so I'm just like, you know, yeah. Anyway, we're not talking about that. I have notes. I made notes so that I don't forget, and plus I had to go into my bank statement to actually see, you know, how much I spent and all that. Sorry. Okay, so before I deviate any further, let me get into the video. Okay, so in terms of documents, you need for EPIK, yes, I'll be speaking from the perspective of an EPIK teacher in South Korea and a South African, because obviously there are other nationalities and there are also Hagwons and international schools. So I'm speaking from the perspective of an EPIK teacher from South Africa. Okay, anyway, so documents needed, you need your degree. If you just finished and you have like, you don't have like the physical degree, you can get a proof of completion letter and send it to EPIK, but by the time you arrive, you need to have your degree, so you need your physical degree. So basically, yeah, and then you need your police clearance certificate, PCC. You need 2 sealed academic transcripts, or one, but sealed academic transcripts from a university, and then 2 letters of recommendation, 2 proof of schooling letters, a passport, obviously, I mean, you're moving abroad, passport photos, and proof of teaching experience if you have any. And any additional things you'll probably find out if they request them or if they send you like that whole detailed documents list, but these ones are like the basic, or the base rather, you know. Yeah, okay, so with your degree, you get your degree, right? And then I spent 610, well, rands, apart from actually the cost of the degree of studying. Anyway, lame joke. Anyway, so I spent 610. So you need to send it to SAQA for verification. SAQA is the South African Qualification Authority. I think so. I'll check and I'll write it down. Yeah, so I spent 610 for verification. Say, oh, why is English running away? Yeah, and then you need your police clearance. Police clearance was 160 rands, and you apply for it at your nearest police station, and then it gets sent to the Criminal Record Center in Pretoria, or you can actually submit it yourself in Pretoria, because I submitted my police clearance in Pretoria. That is actually faster because the document process takes a while as well, in as much as you saw my moving vlog as to when the process started and when I actually moved. It takes just as long with the documents. So yeah, so anything to make things faster. Okay, and then so once you have your degree verification and your police clearance certificate, we send those. So we send the actual, or original rather, police clearance certificate and the verified degree copy thing you receive from SAQA to DIRCO. DIRCO being the Department of International Relations and all. I don't know what the O stands for. I'll write it down. DIRCO. Yeah. And then to get apostilled, right? So for that I spent okay, before I go any further, I tried to share costs with people, or rather with a person. Remember my travel buddy? Yes, we shared the costs. So with Brooklyn, Postnet Brooklyn will send, well, okay, Postnet Brooklyn, right, sent my documents, or our documents rather. So they quoted us 550, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 550. And then I shared those costs with my travel buddy, remember from the moving vlog? Yeah. So, and you can actually also do that, because apparently you can get up to 10, maximum of 10 documents under one person's name. So it was under my name, and then we just list the documents in the because we couriered it to Postnet, in the document list and whatnot, and then you pay. So if you can share costs, do that. But so basically it was like half or 550, or was it 650, something like that. 550, no, 550. Okay. And then your TEFL, you need your TEFL certificate, teaching English as a foreign language certificate. You don't necessarily have to have it at the time of application, but if you do have it's better. Okay, sorry, before we were rudely interrupted. Anyway, why am I saying rudely? Yeah, anyway, so, oh, TEFL. I did my TEFL in 2020. It was 450. I did it with Teach TEFL from the Daddy's Deal website. I'm gonna put that website on the description box. Yeah, that's where I did it. I'm not gonna recommend any other, because I can't recommend something that I've never used. So that's the one I'm mentioning, and that's the TEFL I have. Yeah. And I also got oh, like I mentioned earlier on, some costs I didn't incur this year, but that's how much certain things cost. Anyway, and then I got 2 sealed academic transcripts from the Northwest University. That's where I studied, and it was 300 Rand, but you can claim it back. If you are from Northwest University, you can claim it back, because I don't know, I keep getting those statements, and I actually read my email. So when I opened the statement, I saw it was like a credit balance. I was like, oh, and then I requested a refund and I got it back. So basically you spend like nothing, because that 300 Rand includes courier costs, if I'm not mistaken. I did it a while back, because there was a time where I was like actively trying to apply and move, and then obviously things did not happen. Anyway, we're not there. Okay, so then we need 2 letters of recommendation. So I had them I've had them like I mentioned, when I did my sealed transcripts. I think that was in 2021. Then I got my letters of recommendation, but then no, it was 2020 November. I don't remember, but point is, for me, I had to get them re-signed, because they need to be physically signed, right? Like ink signed. So because nothing expires except the police clearance and the letters of recommendation. So the police clearance is valid for 6 months, and then the letters of recommendation are valid for 2 years. And then because I did mine in 2020, my coordinator told me that I need to apply for newer ones, so that in November, August or November, something like that, they're gonna expire this year. So I was just like, oh, okay, then that makes sense. So I had to get them re-signed and newly dated, but it was basically the exact same thing that was written there. So I had to spend like an additional 100 Rand for courier to get like a collection request from the people the people who did my recommendation letters, right? Okay, and then proof of schooling letters, those are free as well, just as the recommendation letters. I physically went to my schools at the time that I did it, and they don't expire because, yeah, so I didn't have to redo them. Yeah, and then a passport. I did my passport in 2019, my first official passport, not my child passport, but adult passport, because I've always had like a passport and whatnot. Anyway, it was 450 at the time I did it. I don't know, it could have went up. But because you're moving, you obviously need a passport, so that's why I'm mentioning it. Okay, and then proof of teaching English, that should be free. I did not get it, unfortunately. I've taught for 2 years, right? But unfortunately, EPIK does not recognize online teaching as proof of schooling. What the importance of the proof of schooling is, proof of schooling, why am I saying proof of schooling? Proof of teaching experience is for your salary scale, where they would place you, so even though I have 2 years of teaching experience, I started at the lower scale because they don't recognize online teaching. So, but if you have been like in the classroom, and the physical classroom that is, then get that. It should be free, I don't know. Anyway, and then I don't know how much I spent on passport photos. I'm assuming it's 100 Rand, I'm just estimating. So yeah, and then once all the documents are gathered and you've passed your interview and you courier your documents to South Korea, which was 830 to courier via Postnet, and it takes 3 to 5 working days if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so that's another cost that I incurred, sending my documents here, because they need your physical documents, Yeah. Okay, so I'm actually almost done. Yay! This is gonna be a short video. Okay, and then there was the visa application process. Now that you've been placed and everything, there's the visa application process. So with the visa, you need to do a chest X-ray for your TB test, chest X-ray, where you can go to a doctor. I'll actually speak more in detail about it in a separate video, but you can go to a doctor, and then the doctor will refer you to the hospital. But I went to Medicross, so it obviously needs to be an approved, part of the approved list of health facilities in South Africa. So I went to Medicross because I felt like I don't want to be going to a doctor and then from there I'll go to the hospital. Medicross has everything in one place, because the doctor needs to actually sign and read the test results and everything, and actually fill in that form that you need for the visa application. So my medical aid paid for the consultation, but I had to pay 985 rands for the test itself, because apparently it's not a medical condition. Well, it isn't, because it's for immigration purposes. Yeah, so that's how much I paid. And then the visa application itself is 1,080 rands. Well, at the time I was applying, because cost could have went up and whatnot, yeah. So that is the costs. Yeah, the visa. Oh, just side note, for the visa application you need physical cash, so you need to withdraw cash. They don't take cards, they take hardcore cash. Anyway, yeah, and then obviously the process is done now. Apply for my visa, I'm booking my flight. My flight was 10,150 rands. I booked with Qatar Airways, and then unfortunately it didn't come with automatic seats. That doesn't even make sense, but yeah, point is I had to pay extra to reserve the seats I wanted, because I wanted window seats and I didn't want when I check in they just assign me a random seat. So I was like, I'm gonna pay extra. So I paid an extra 1,100 for both flights. It was 2 flights, right? 10,000, including, it was the flight from South Africa to Doha and from Doha to South Korea. So for both flights, I paid 1,100. I think it was about 500 and something per seat. So I was like, I'm reserving a seat. And you know, next thing you're sitting in the aisle, or I don't know. Anyway, we're not speaking about that. And then I knew that my bags were going to be overweight. So I was like, I'm just going to take an additional bag. So I paid for an additional bag, which was 3,500 Rand. And I mean, it's not a necessity because you get 2 check bags. And then, so I basically had 3 check bags. So yeah, I mean, you can really avoid this cost. Anyway, yeah. And then I had about 15,000 Rands to spend for the first month, but I didn't use 15,000 for the first month. I used about 8,000, maybe less, because yeah, I only had to get groceries. I bought new bedding because I wasn't comfortable with that bedding, but I've started using it now. I washed it and everything. What else did I do? Just the moving around. I remember I also went to visit my friend in my first month. What else did I do? Just, you know, these little things that you buy, you know, go to the convenience store, you're paying for this, you're paying for that, even, you know, in between. Yeah, so those are my costs. So the costs in total were 26,430. The cost that I incurred in terms of, this is excluding the SAQA, my passport, my TEFL, you know, and all these other costs. And mind you, I did not mention the costs of moving around, going from my place to Postnet, going from where to where, because those are also costs. Yes, they're minor, but in aggregate, they're just like, yeah. Anyway, that, but if I had to add like your TEFL, my SAQA and whatnot, it would probably be about 30,000 Rands. So basically, that's how much I spent. I mean, it could be less, like I mentioned, the additional bag. It was not a necessity. So you can minus that. You don't necessarily need 8,000, but just to be safe, you know. What else? You don't necessarily have to reserve your seats beforehand, you know, so some costs, you know, you can avoid. But yeah, so that's how much I spent. Also, you can also book other flights which maybe have longer connecting layover times, I mean, which could be cheaper, or, you know, I know, no, let me not lie, I don't know, but there are obviously cheaper flights somewhere. But I booked, like, probably my flight was probably like booked 2 weeks or just over a week before I left. So yeah, so those were my costs of moving. Yes, it's not cheap, but is it worth it? Absolutely, because it's this is obviously there's a it's reimbursable, the flight. You get a relocation, you get a settlement allowance and a relocation allowance. So basically, I think I got about 20,000 Rands back. Yeah, I got about 20,000 Rands back, if I'm not mistaken. I'll check and convert. But yeah, so basically these things will benefit you in the end. But yeah, I don't want to keep speaking any longer. I just escaped the staff room so that I can come record, and then I'm gonna go back. But yeah, I will speak to you guys in the next video. Please do share your thoughts, comment, ask any questions if you have any. And yeah, you know, I actually do respond, and it may not be as and when the comments come in, but I ensure that I respond to every comment. And I really appreciate it. The fact, guys, we're at 800 subscribers, just over. Thank you. thank you. Yeah, but I'll see you guys in my next video. It's gonna be a sit down as well, probably a shorter sit down. And yeah, you'll see vlogs after 2 weekends. So this Sunday and the next Sunday is going to be 2 sit downs, and then I'll be back to vlogging, because yeah, I need to give what the people want, you know, give my subscribers what they want. And yeah, so if also you have any requests in terms of videos that you would like me to shoot, especially sit downs, because as you can see or noticed, I don't really record sit down videos unless they're requested. Then please do let me know. But yeah, and I'll also be on the watch out for my community tab. I'll be posting some things there if I do have, like, maybe there's a Q&A, or sorry, I got distracted. There's a Q&A, or you know, anything really. But yeah, what else did I want to say? Yeah, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Thank you.